And this is, like, I would say, Calv, the thing that's interesting about Rich is he's like a fairly competent millennial with technology. It's still a joke.
Am I a millennial?
What else would you be? Content today. Actually, this is quite good. There's this dude, Monish Pabrai, Indian Warren Buffett. A few things that he did that I found really interesting. Have you ever seen the film The Last King of Scotland?
Oh, incredible. Idi Amin.
Part of his regime was, you guys have got to get out. And a lot of these people some went to the UK, some went to the US. And the ones that went to the US became unbelievable at owning motels. Okay. Not against that. And this is, I would say, Calv, the thing that's interesting about Rich is he's like a fairly competent millennial with technology. It's still a joke.
Am I a millennial?
What else would you be?
Well, I'm 1981. That's not millennial, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, from 1980, you just squeezed in.
Oh, Blomley's not then. What's Blomley? A boomer?
Gen Z. He's Gen Z.
Gen Z. Boomer. Is it boomer post World War II? Actually.
Yeah. He's a hip Gen Z.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Content today. Actually, this is quite good. This is all from a My First Million pod, actually, but just a couple of quite interesting things.
I like those guys.
They're very good. There's this dude, Mohnish Pabrai, investor, he's called the Indian Buffett. Just has a massive hedge fund.
1 second though. What are you doing? Sorry, Lindsay's doing this thing where she stands in the corner of a room, right? No fucking joke. She stands in the corner and she just stares at me. And I can see her in the reflection. Come on, you've got to come and say hello now. Keep this in, Calvin.
Come on, Lindsay. This is a...
Mom.
Is that your dog now?
No, it's borrow my doggy. No, she can't hear you. It's not our dog, is it?
No, it's
Can we make him sniff the mic?
So, this guy, Mohnish Pabrai, the Indian Warren Buffett.
Is that not Pabrai?
Maybe. Indian Warren Buffett. A few things that he did that I found really interesting. So, tech bubble, when all of the capital in the late 90s, early zeros was flowing into pets.com and that kind of stuff. Pabrai was like, you know what? No one's investing in these shit like steel and waste companies. They're way underpriced. All his capital went there. And then when the tech bubble burst, those companies' valuations soared. And I just love this idea of going against the crowd. And what does everyone think's going to happen? And let's just do something different. Or I do it a lot in betting on golf. I'm pretty good at betting in golf. I make money a little bit every year. My tactic is to bet on golfers that look like they're shit or have shit swings, or ideally both. So people that just you don't want to bet on a cool looking golfer, do you? They're always going to be Rory McIlroy looks pretty cool. Scotty Scheffler looks cool. Those guys are not going to be valued because they look like they're going to do a good job. Bet on, the slightly overweight, guy with a bit of a hacky swing. He's probably better than he looks.
Shame. Name and shame. Come on, who are you going with?
I would never name and shame an overweight golfer with a hacky swing. Yeah.
The interesting point. So I wouldn't call steel businesses and traditional businesses shit businesses. I'd call them traditional businesses. And you're damn right. If you've got a thesis to go against certain things and can recognise and investigate entities or assets that are undervalued, I think historically that has been proven an awesome strategy. If you've got the capability to understand it, if you can do the research, and if you've got the capital to deploy against it, it's often, I think it's proven through history that it's been a good strategy to have. I mean, Warren Buffett, what he did with Geico was incredible. Recognised it was undervalued, boom, made a fortune out of it.
The second thing he did that was interesting, have you ever seen the film The Last King of Scotland?
Oh, incredible. Idi Amin.
Mm-hmm.
Forrest Whitaker did an unbelievable job. Terrifying.
You know what? I need to watch that again. It is such a good film, and it goes so dark.
Yeah, so dark.
Do you think we'll watch that again tonight? Not together, but...
I mean, I could push for it. If Lindsay hasn't seen it, I'm not going to tell her what it's about. Just going to go straight in.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if Lindsay has seen it. I think she could get on board with it, actually. Anyway, so Idi Amin, amazing country, Uganda. Spent some time there, actually, about 15 years ago, which is not relevant to this story. What is relevant to this story is Idi Amin. One of the things that he did, he kicked out the Indian community. So these guys had been there like 100 years. They'd like emigrated there, and they were like Ugandan citizens. Part of his like regime was, you guys have got to get out. And a lot of these people some went to the UK, some went to the US, and the ones that went to the US became unbelievable at owning motels. So they would buy a motel, they would use it partly for their family and to live in, and then partly as a business. And then they would live incredibly frugally. And then they would just batter their competition. They batter them on price, they batter them on quality, they batter them on service. And now this was, they've just been compounding this for 50 years. And now that Indian diaspora from Uganda owns a massive proportion of the motels in the US. And if you have got one of those guys owning a motel next to you, you are fucked. They're going to batter you because they're just incredibly efficient. And I think they own they've just graduated now to owning some of the bigger ones. They own some of these big chains and these sort of more luxury end hotels as well. And they're just business assassins. Great story. That,
well, it is a great story, and it just goes to show that hard work, focus, dedication. A little bit of resilience, and you can get a long way.
What I love about it as well, that I just don't think gets talked about enough. They just won on price a lot of the time, and price gets a really shit rep as a value prop, doesn't it?
Race
it's like,
to the bottom.
Race to the bottom. You can't just compete on price. In the right market, I love price as a sales point. So, for example, in our recruitment business, Marketing Pros, we have decided we're going to go big after the US market. And one of the reasons that we do that is because I just have unbelievable conversations with those prospects, because I tell them the pricing and they look at me like they can't fucking believe it, because it is just so good. In the UK, that's not the case, because we're such a pokey little outsource hub of the US now that unless you're talking to like a London, pretty well-funded company, our pricing is good. It's still really, really good, but it's not a joke how cheap it is. If I speak to an American company, I can get them a really high quality, marketing exec for the same price as someone that works in McDonald's. And that makes my sales conversation easy. Like, it's just a phenomenal lever to pull. And with our agency, similarly, like, our pricing is so good compared to US companies. So me personally, I love price. I know you're probably like, go fuck yourself. I love product and, other barriers, but I think price is.
We used to trade on that back in the day, right? I mean, when we first started, when we had very limited portfolio and still really kind of building up the brand of what we were, even prior to Mahara, a lot of, most all of the team was in Bangkok, and a lot we traded on was quality at price, a decent price level, and we were able to do that for 4 or 5 years, and then it became very much about a bit more value pricing, so what you're going to be able to get out with the experience. But it's, as you say, it's a lever that's often kind of like disregarded, but can be really effectively used. We really effectively used it in the early days. Still do. And we still do to a degree, as and when.
And you have to use it alongside other things, right? It's like, in the recruitment business, the people are still amazing. And in the motel business, I'm sure the motels are still really good. But if you've got that and it's a good price, you're suddenly having a sort of a no-brainer conversation, or somebody's making a no-brainer room booking, which is kind of what you want. So love that. Love a bit of price. From an insight perspective, better. Definitely from a visual perspective, better. He never interrupts me. I think this is a hit. It's going to be a hit, isn't it?
It's going to be a hit. Gizmo! Yeah. Here we go, buddy.
Right, you do the outro today. That's what you're going to bring to this one.
Okay. From Idi Amin through to an Indian surname that Doug cannot pronounce, we bring you Bear With Me. Like, subscribe, and comment.
Perfect.
You're going to hate that.
Oh, I love it. All right. Thanks, Calvin.